I just wanted to come on here, guys, and say today is a huge deal. We just hit 3 million subscribers on YouTube. This is something I never would have dreamed to have happened, especially back when I was like a little 12-year-old kid thinking about being a YouTuber one day. So I just wanted to say thank you, guys. And as a thank you, I want to show you guys what my true hair actually looks like. Enjoy it. I'm just joking, guys. As you can see, I've got a full head of hair. Wink, wink. Anyways, the top 1 or 2 comments on this video, that's what I'm going to do to celebrate 3 million. Make it somewhat realistic, though. Don't tell me to give away like $1,000 to 1 million people, because, dude, I'm not Jeff Bezos, all right? So, yeah, top comment, whatever it is, man. Realistic, and I will do it.
Does anyone know what this fish is?
Money!
I'm not a marine biologist, so I'm not going to say 100% that I know what this is, but I do have a pretty good guess. This TikTok video that I got tagged in has the caption, "No one knows what kind of fish this is." It then shows this very clear thin fish that at first I thought was a bait, but then it started moving. Now, there are a lot of very small juvenile fish that are partially transparent, but they still aren't 100% clear, so I don't think that's what we're looking at here. I think we're actually looking at something referred to as leptocephalus, otherwise known as eel larvae. There are actually quite a few species of eel out there that in their juvenile form look exactly like this, pretty much completely clear, and it could be this way for up to 2 years. Here's another example of one of these leptocephalus that was taken in Tasmania. To me, these do look quite similar, though it might be a different species. Who knows?
I'm sorry, but since I saw this, you have to as well.
I'm sorry, guys. I want to apologize, but since I had to see this, now you do as well. It's summertime, so I figure this is a very fitting video. In this one that I got tagged in, we can see this person peeling off the top layer of their skin. You want to know why this happened? Because you didn't apply sunscreen. Most of us have experienced a sunburn at one point or another. Usually, though, when you get a sunburn, they're pretty minor. You might get some redness, a little bit of pain, but nothing some aloe vera can't fix. But a lot of people don't realize if you spend too much time out in the sun, you are actually able to get second-degree burns, which impacts your dermis, not just the top layer of your skin, the epidermis. And it's roughly estimated that every 5 times you allow yourself to be sunburnt, especially a second-degree sunburn, your risk of melanoma or skin cancer doubles. So if you're a person who spends a lot of time out in the sun and you've had a lot of sunburns, keep an eye out for these.
Do you know why this animal doesn't fear anything? Because the capybara might just be the final boss of the animal kingdom.
All right, buddy, it's time to stop the cap. This is a pretty outlandish TikTok video that I got tagged in, talking all about the capybara, how it has no predators, and how it's apparently the final boss of the animal kingdom, above things like lions, polar bears, orcas, etc. Over the past few years, capybaras have built themselves an amazing reputation because they're very friendly, they're very sociable with different animals, and overall they're just very enjoyable to be around. And admittedly, a lot of the time, this social behavior does kind of track over when it comes to predators. Capybaras have been seen having good relationships with predators, but animals like jaguars, anacondas, and caiman will still kill and consume capybaras, regardless of how friendly they're being. That being said, adult capybaras don't get consumed too often. Usually it's going to be the young.
This could mean you have lung cancer.
Seeing this doesn't always mean there's something going on with your body, but it is a very good idea if this shows up to go to the doctor anyways. The clip that you guys just watched shows a person recording their hands. It looks kind of normal at first, but after looking more closely at the nails, we can see that they are very rounded and they have this very odd appearance about them. This condition is known as nail clubbing. By itself, it's not painful and it's not necessarily dangerous, but the things that cause this are the reason for concern and why you should go to the doctor if you develop it. Usually, nail clubbing is going to be the result of a lack of oxygen in the blood, and therefore we know that issues with your heart or lungs are likely going to be what causes this. This is especially quite common in patients with lung cancer. About 15% of them develop nail clubbing as well.
Whatever you do, don't watch this video.
Yeah, I'm sorry for cutting that off there, guys, but I'm definitely not showing the full video for this. It's pretty gnarly. The clip that you guys just watched shows a massive safety violation that results in a very unfortunate outcome. We can see this crane picking up a large load of steel sheets, and while these two workers are standing clear and maintaining a safe distance, this guy is standing directly under the load, I'm assuming to try to help guide this into place, and boy, was this a mistake. Individual thin steel sheets by themselves are not necessarily the heaviest thing in the world. However, when you stack them on top of each other, they become exponentially more heavy, and for some context, steel, a cubic foot of steel, weighs about 490 pounds. And obviously, since I can't show the video or aftermath, this is a perfect cartoon version of what happened. This loop broke off, the steel was no longer supported, and gravity did the rest.
This man kiteboarded to Point Nemo.
Boy, is this alcohol?
I truly do not understand this obsession with Point Nemo and the fact that people think whenever you see a buoy in the ocean, it means you're at Point Nemo. No, dude, it doesn't. I truly hope this TikTok that I got tagged in is a joke. It shows this guy kite surfing in the ocean. We can see a yellow buoy right here. And the caption on the original video states this guy kite surfed all the way to Point Nemo. We've talked about it before, but as a refresher, Point Nemo is one of the most remote places on the Earth. It's a spot in the middle of the ocean that is the furthest away from any landmass. Because of its remote nature, there are no buoys at Point Nemo, and there really wouldn't be a point in having them there. Not only this, Point Nemo is almost 1,700 miles away from the nearest island, so even kiteboarding at the world record speed from the closest point of land would take about 25 hours to get to Point Nemo, and then you're just in the middle of the ocean, you're dead. Rabbit hole on this one goes a whole hell of a lot deeper than I thought it would, so I'm going to just give you guys a summary. Here we apparently see images from a previously popular content creator saying POV, you go back 3 years ago, and truly see how Tofia and her family lived inside the apartment. We then see a few different images of a dirty apartment. For those that don't know, Tofia Chu used to be a relatively popular content creator, but it's because people like to make fun of her, especially on live. Apparently, Tofia would do a lot of gross things on live that I'm not really going to get into. Don't want you guys to lose your lunch. And she also treated her pets very poorly, and that was exhibited multiple times. Tofia was also apparently very messy, which is exactly why she got evicted from her apartment, and I believe she's been moving around motels as well and being evicted consistently from those too. I'm not sure how much of this is true, but it really does sound like a real train wreck.
Why female chickens are unsafe around roosters.
Tell you what, guys, it's a great day to not be a female chicken surrounded by roosters. In this video sent to me through Instagram DM, we can see a lone female chicken trying to balance on this wire with a bunch of male roosters walking around below her. The female unfortunately loses her balance, drops onto the ground here, tries to run away, and all of the male chickens run after her. And if any of you guys have hung out around roosters before, you'll know that sometimes they're not the nicest, especially during the springtime when their testosterone peaks and it's mating season. When this happens, some roosters will forcefully try to mate with the females to the point of actually injuring them. From a moral standpoint, as a human, this is not a good thing, but also for the flock, it's not a good thing either, and when this happens, sometimes you have to cull the rooster. The way people do this is they shove the rooster into a cone like this with its head hanging down and snip snip.
Whatever you do, don't stand on this ground.
Look, I know that this is definitely not the best for the environment, but I will say, watching this is mesmerizing. This is a TikTok video compilation that shows this plot of land. We can see a bunch of holes in it and this explosion that takes place up at the top, and then the explosion tracks all the way down through the plot of land. And what you guys just witnessed is a technique known as drill blasting. This is commonly used for things like mining, rock quarries, digging tunnels, making dams, you name it. Drill blasting works the exact same way that it sounds. We have these drills that bore holes into a rock, explosives are stuffed inside, a specific pattern is usually followed, as well as a specific type of explosive, depending on the type of material that you're working with. And then, of course, it's detonated, and hopefully the material that you're trying to clear is out of there and easy to move.
You don't want to hear code blue in a hospital.
I wake up every day counting my lucky stars that I do not work in a hospital setting and that I've never had to be in a code blue. For those of you that have, thank you, I salute you. There's not a whole lot of context behind this TikTok video, but the caption says POV after a code blue, and then we can see this mess in a hospital room with a bunch of medical packaging everywhere. Now, a code blue is not for the faint of heart, no pun intended. For those that don't know what it is, it's when a patient experiences cardiac arrest, their heart stops beating, or they have problems with their lungs and they're unable to breathe. It's at this point a code blue will be called, a team will rush into the patient's room that's experiencing this problem, and they will try to provide immediate life-saving measures, sometimes successful, sometimes not. And because of how immediate the response is, the people that are providing these life-saving measures, they're not paying attention to the trash that they're throwing, they're just trying to save the patient's life, which is why it's oftentimes messy afterward.
Oh, did you see it?
Most of the guys watching this video probably will not understand what's going on here from a first glance, but in essence, this is not normal. This video went extremely viral on TikTok, getting over 35 million views. In it, we can see this woman with a massive bruise on her arm, and what appears to be a flashing light below the surface of this bruise. For context, this woman just recently got a form of birth control known as Nexplanon. It's an implant roughly the size of a matchstick that gets inserted into your arm. Oftentimes it does leave a bruise, and it works by releasing a hormone known as progestin that helps to prevent a person from getting pregnant. So the bruising can be normal, especially if you're prone to bruising, it can look bad. But Nexplanon does not have flashing lights. So what is flashing below her skin? It's actually very simple. TikTok has a face filter that helps make people look better, and this bruise looks kind of like a face, so the filter is trying to fit on, and it's flashing.
Bro, ain't no way that COVID is really back and that shit's spreading again on tour. We might really go back on lockdown.
5 years later, even though it's not in the center of the spotlight right now, it's still something we're dealing with and talking about. This video is one that I recently got tagged in on TikTok, and this guy is talking about the fact that COVID-19 is spreading again. He talks about the cases increasing in places like California and abroad, and unfortunately, he's 100% correct. Recently, there's been a new variant of the coronavirus by the name of NB181. The new variant also appears to preliminarily be more transmissible than previous variants, meaning it has a higher affinity for attaching to cells and making the infection spread quicker. The one positive in this situation is that this variant doesn't seem to be any more dangerous than previous ones though, so you don't have a higher chance of dying from it. Though the symptoms do sound a little bit worse, things like dizziness have been reported.
Whatever you do, don't visit this website.
Money! Full disclosure, nobody really knows exactly what's going on here, but there are some interesting theories, so let's talk about it. Over the past few days, this dark web shoe store has been going viral on TikTok. People have been visiting it and seeing firsthand how weird this is. These shoes have individual people's names, they have ages, and they also have the shoe size, and the prices are very inconsistent, seemingly random. Of course, this led to a lot of wild theories. Some people think that these shoes represent people, that's what you're buying. Some people think that this person is selling shoes from victims that the owner of the store has had. There are also people that think these shoes are being taken from a morgue and being sold on the dark web. The website itself is called The Shoe Man, Keeper of Souls, obviously very ominous. But honestly, I don't think this website is any of the negative theories we've heard. I think this person is just doing this for publicity, going to Goodwill, ruining the shoes, and selling them.
Eating this meat will not kill you.
Boy, is this alcohol?
I know that this meat might look crazy. I know you might be tempted to just toss this out and assume that it went bad, but actually this is completely safe to eat. This video posted to TikTok shows this person who has some meat. Most of it looks normal except for this portion that looks iridescent. As previously said though, this is completely fine to consume. This iridescent meat phenomenon though is quite commonly seen in a variety of different settings. For example, one of the most common places you're going to find this is in deli meat. The reason why this happens is slightly more complex, but as many of you guys know, muscles are comprised of muscle fibers. When you cut them in a certain way, the light shines off of them kind of like a crystal, and it splits it up, so you get that rainbow-like effect. Honestly, if anything, seeing this on your meat should actually be a good sign, because it means that it's not fake, and this is healthy muscle meat. If this happens to your diesel engine, you have two choices. Number one, try to fix it ASAP and hope that it works. Or number two, if you don't know what you're doing, just run. The clip that you guys just watched shows this guy messing around with the diesel engine. You'll notice that it's running. Then out of nowhere, it gets a whole hell of a lot louder and everyone scatters like cockroaches. And what you guys just witnessed happening is something known as diesel engine runaway. This is when an engine's RPM uncontrollably increases, usually due to another fuel source being introduced to the engine that's not meant to be there, and it continues to get worse and worse until bad things happen. At the very least, if you let this continue, an engine is going to be irreparably damaged, and at the very most, engines have even blown up. There's an experiment on YouTube you guys can watch showing this. If this happens to your engine, use a fire extinguisher into the air intake or just block it off and prevent air from going in.
This fell from the sky into their pool.
It's really hard to tell with 100% certainty what exactly this is, so just be aware, this is a guess on my part. The person that posted this video on TikTok claims they were by their pool when something ended up falling from the sky, and as you guys can see from this video, the creature is moving and it looks very alien. Of course, there were some people who thought this was an actual alien creature and it's making contact with humans for the first time, but the only thing I can really think of here is that this is either a prop or this is a coconut crab. I think it's relatively feasible that a coconut crab could have been crawling up a tree near the pool and accidentally fallen in. Although I will say it is very rare for a coconut crab to be spotted in water because it's not something they hang out in. They're not able to breathe in water, they have to breathe regular air. The one thing I could tell you though, I wouldn't be touching this with my hands to get it out of the water. I would definitely be using one of those pool nets.
Whatever you do, don't jump scare a horse.
If you guys have been watching my content since 2023, you probably recognize this, but it's gone viral again, so we're gonna talk about it again. At first glance, this video posted to TikTok might appear kind of funny. We can see a horse running down this path, the person recording is hiding, and then as the horse runs past, they yell and the horse falls down, essentially being jump scared. Now, horses are extremely smart creatures, they're able to recognize human faces, and getting straight into it, the first negative from this is the fact the horse is probably not going to trust you as much in the future. But easily the worst part about this video is the fact that the horse is running on uneven ground, meaning when that horse fell, it would have been very easy for its leg to break. When it comes to a horse's leg breaking, a lot of the times it's so severe that the horse cannot recover and they need to be put down / euthanized. And even when it is possible to mend a leg break, it's still a very long process.
Whatever you do, don't swim in this water.
Crazy timing here. This is a topic that I did not cover on this account up until a month ago, and now I'm covering it twice within the same time frame. The video that you guys just watched shows a small pond or lake, and this lake is in complete turmoil. We can see the water is moving, sloshing from one side to another, and this is something known as a seiche. A seiche is something that almost exclusively occurs in ponds or lakes, and it's when there's some sort of outside force that causes water to move from one end to the other end. It's pretty common for a seiche to be the result of high winds pushing water to one side. When that wind dies down, the water obviously wants to find its level, and then we go back and forth. But there are other factors that can make seiches more dangerous, like landslides or earthquakes, which I'm pretty sure is the exact reason why this is taking place in this clip.
He quickly realized it was not a human.
Money!
Yet another one of these videos, and yet again, it is likely not what it looks like. This video shows two guys standing in chest-deep water. We can see what appears to be human hands reaching out of the water, but as soon as this guy in the hat reaches the hands and picks them up, he sprints away because he allegedly realizes that this is a crocodile. Realistically, with the resolution on this video, it's hard to tell whether or not this is a crocodile, but we're going to run with that and assume that that's true. So if you guys remember, not too long ago, there was a video that went viral showing a crocodile flailing its human-like hands above the water, and a lot of people assumed the crocodile was trying to lure people to jump in and save a drowning person. In theory, this does sound terrifying, and this does almost look human from afar, but realistically, when this type of behavior occurs in a crocodile, it's probably injured or it is holding food in its mouth.
Pandas can accidentally give birth.
Before you guys come after me for the title here being incorrect, I want you to know I'm actually using the original caption from the original video, and I'm going to disprove that. This video was sent to me through Instagram DM, and it claims to show this panda being so clumsy that it accidentally gives birth not once, but twice. However, this fact is completely incorrect, and they likely misconstrued a different panda fact. For some context, what you guys did watch was a relatively normal panda birthing process. Usually they shoot the babies out, and this is somewhat normal. The only portion of the original caption that was correct is the fact that pandas are clumsy. And because they're so clumsy and because they're so much larger than their newborn babies, they will occasionally accidentally kill their babies by crushing them. Cubs usually have to make it to at least a month or a reasonable enough size for the mother to notice them and not accidentally crush them.
Can anyone help me figure out what this is?
I don't think anybody watching this video would seriously consider consuming this, but just in case, don't do it. This TikTok video that I got tagged in shows this individual asking for help in identifying this, something that was found in her chicken coop. And if this is what I think it is, it's not a good sign. As we all know, chickens lay eggs. These can be either fertilized or unfertilized, but eggs are not the only things they lay. Occasionally, chickens might lay something known as a lash egg. Conventionally speaking, these are disgusting. They're made up of tissue fragments, yolk fragments, pus, and it's an indication of a bigger problem going on with your chicken. An infection known as salpingitis. This can either be caused by E. coli or salmonella, which is exactly why you don't want to consume a lash egg, not that you would want to in the first place. Fortunately, salpingitis is treatable, but you do have to get on it right away. Without context, it's nearly impossible to understand why these guys are freaking out, but in their eyes, this is a perfectly good reason. The clip that you guys just watched shows this guy inside of a small boat on a body of water yelling "Mokili Mbembe." The camera then pans into the water and we can see this large creature moving around. As you guys know, there are many different cryptids that exist within many different cultures, and the Congo River Basin is not exempt to this fact. According to some Bantu mythologies, there is a water-dwelling entity by the name of Mokili Mbembe that a lot of people might think be a sauropod because they resemble one another, kind of similar to the Loch Ness Monster, where people think that's also a previously extinct creature. Descriptions of the creature vary, the eyewitness accounts are kind of shoddy. In my opinion, it's kind of unbelievable here. It's probably a legend that arose from hippos or some other type of animal.
This is what giving up looks like.
What you guys are witnessing here is when a person is completely broken and they know that they're at the end. This is a clip that I came across on Reddit that allegedly shows a Russian soldier during the Ukraine-Russian war sitting down, and while it doesn't look like very much is happening in this video, this guy is being recorded by a drone, and that should tell you everything you need to know. In case you're not aware though, the Ukraine-Russian war is being completely overtaken with drones. There are many different types, but one of the most popular ones are the FPV drones, or the first-person video drones. These guys drive their drones around looking for unfortunate targets, and then strapped to these drones are implements that go boom, and when they make contact with the target, obviously it gets wiped out. There are quite a few of these videos online of these people being recorded by these drones, trying to fight back and being unsuccessful. And this one shows a guy that's just not even going to bother to fight back because he knows he's done. You guys might not believe me, but this guy actually survived. That being said, this is exactly why you don't have wild animals as pets. This is a video that was recently recorded in Thailand. We can see this guy walking this tiger using a chain. Things are going somewhat fine at first, but as soon as the guy kneels down to take an image with the tiger, it pushes him down and pins him. Now the original video here just cuts off. We can hear the guy screaming in the background, so I was thinking the worst. Potentially this guy was taken out by the tiger and maybe even consumed, but the guy only sustained minor injuries because the trainer was able to subdue the tiger. Really fortunate that an incident like this didn't take place. If you guys remember this video, you'll know this guy did not make it. So just remember guys, even when wild animals are seemingly docile and tame, things can flip in an instant, and instead of it being a big cuddly kitten, it is trying to consume you, or at least kill you. There's really not a whole lot of context behind this slideshow, but it's just as disturbing and needless as the caption makes it appear. Here we can see images of two young men with the caption, "POV, you owe your friend $175 and it costs you your life." So the boy seen right here in the slideshow is teenager Daniel Petrie, and back in 2007, he went viral for all the wrong reasons. Daniel had a younger 12-year-old friend by the name of Gabriel Kuhn, and they were both interested in an online game that they oftentimes played together by the name of Tibia. Long story short, Gabriel asked Daniel for $1.75 to get some in-game credits, but Gabriel never paid Daniel his $1.75 back. Daniel then went to Gabriel's house pretending to be kind, but ended up taking Gabriel's life. I can't repeat the horrible things that he did, but he was caught and sentenced to only 3 years because he was so young.
If you see this face, don't step on it.
Boil this alcohol.
If you happen to come across this on the beach, it is very much advised not to step on this and to keep your distance. This TikTok video that I got tagged in shows this family walking along the beach when they discovered a face sticking out of the sand. This thing obviously looks terrifying, and they say at best, it looks like it's trying to escape hell. The creature that we're looking at is known as a stargazer fish, and while they're not necessarily deadly, they do actually have the potential to hurt you. Firstly, if you accidentally step on one in the right spot, they have these little spines on their back that contain venom. This can be extremely painful. But on top of this, if you step closer up here next to the eyes, the stargazer would be able to electrocute you. It has a 50-volt shock, so not necessarily fatal, but still quite painful. And yes, these guys do bury themselves as a way to protect themselves from predators, so it could potentially be easy to step on one.
Guys, look at this shit. Man, excuse my language, but look at this. My fucking whole house, man.
Man, I tell you what, I would not be recording a video, I would be calling an emergency terminator if my house looked like this. The video that you guys just watched shows one of the worst types of insect infestations you could possibly see. This guy is walking downstairs, and every single one of these rooms is filled with these tiny winged creatures, but these are not flies, these are termites. Termites in your home, very bad news. And I'm sure many of you guys know, but termites chew through wood. And if they just so happen to chew through important pieces of wood, like supporting beams for example, it can compromise the structural integrity of your house. Even worse, in a termite nest, eventually newly hatched males and females with wings will have to leave to go start a new colony. These are known as swarmers. So what's happening here is these termites are leaving their nest, which presumably is inside this guy's house, and they're mating right in front of you.
You spilled all over me.
Really not sure what would possess anyone to do something like this, but as you guys can see, it's a horrible idea. This is a video that was recorded quite a while ago, but was recently sent to me through Instagram DM. It shows this guy taking a bite out of something known as a cattail. And things don't go well, especially when he accidentally inhales some of the seeds. If you're unfamiliar with what a cattail is, this is what they look like in nature. They're usually stationed around marshlands, and they reproduce with this tight, compact seed head that over time disperses the seeds. This weird trend arose where people have been deciding to take bites out of these cattail seed heads, probably because it looks like a corn dog, but because of how tightly compact the seeds are there, it expands in your mouth, and it makes it really hard to breathe. And while cattails themselves are non-toxic, you're not going to die from ingesting this accidentally. Breathing it in increases your risk of aspiration pneumonia, which obviously can be life-threatening.
Yeah, he's charging you. Yeah.
I have no words. Why would you ever mess with one of the deadliest land animals in the world? This video shows a group of people that are either A, uninformed, or B, way too confident in their abilities to run, approaching a hippo and recording it. Of course, the hippo did not like being cornered, and it ended up running, obliterating one of the people, but fortunately everyone here was fine. Things could have gone much, much worse though. For those that don't know, hippos are extremely deadly. They kill around 500 people per year, and they're highly territorial and aggressive. They have a bite force of around 1,800 to 2,000 psi, which means they can easily crush watermelons, and it's even hypothesized that they would be able to straight up bite a human in half. Not to mention, hippos are extremely heavy, meaning they could easily trample you, and there really aren't many animals that mess around with hippos, if any at all.
That's there.
And that's not the sun. That can't be the sun because the sunset is over there.
I don't want to sound patronizing, but really, we're going to act like this is some revolutionary discovery. It's kind of ridiculous. Over the past 24 hours, my mentions have been absolutely flooded by these videos, people recording this mysterious red object in the sky that they claim is not the sun because the moon is over here and the sunset is apparently happening in a different area of the sky. Now, as for myself, being from Eastern Washington, seeing a red sun is not something that we're unaccustomed to because there are so many wildfires here, and this is really common to see when there's smoke in the atmosphere. And right now in Canada, there are a bunch of wildfires. This right here shows a map of all the smoke, and coincidentally, a lot of the people that have been recording these videos live next to some pretty dense smoky areas. For crying out loud, even the moon has been turning red because of the smoke. There's not some weird planet in the sky we've never seen before.
Do not buy meat from Happy Meat Farms.
Full disclosure, I am a pescatarian, meaning I only eat fish, but if I did consume land meat, I would not eat that, man. This TikTok video that I got tagged in shows a somewhat unappetizing piece of meat with the caption, "My grandma bought meat from a new brand, Happy Meat Farms. Why does it look like this?" And again, while this meat does look unappetizing, the real red flag here is the fact that it's from Happy Meat Farms. For those that don't know, Happy Meat Farms is not a real brand. It's a fictional brand that's evil. It's said that Happy Meat Farms initially started off as a family farm, but after almost going bankrupt, new management came in, and they became a massive tycoon, and because of this, they spent a bunch of money genetically modifying different animals, carrying out human experiments, so the meat, nobody really knows where it comes from in this hypothetical fictional world. So if Happy Meat Farms was real, this would probably kill you if you ate it.
Why firefighters always do the wiggle.
If these firefighters don't do this wiggle, more than likely they're going to end up doing push-ups. And while that makes zero sense, let me explain. This video shows a bunch of firefighters in training, and outside of their uniform, they all have one thing in common. They're all periodically shaking, and this isn't some sort of coincidence, this is 100% intentional. Firefighting is obviously a very dangerous job, and in order to help minimize some of that danger, they wear something known as a PASS device. It's integrated in with their system, and it stands for Personal Alert Safety System. What this does is if a firefighter ends up being incapacitated, unable to move on a job, an alarm will go off after 30 seconds, alerting other firefighters as to where that person is so they can rescue them. So, in order to prevent the alarm from going off, firefighters will occasionally have to wiggle a little bit to prevent the system from thinking that they're stuck.
Are squirrels and rats mating now?
I do have to admit, this does look like a squirrel-rat hybrid, but nothing that interesting is taking place in this clip. As you guys can see, this clip was recorded in New York, and as you guys know, there are a ton of rats in New York. So, because this creature looks like a hybrid, the joke is that they're both mixed breeding. But here's the deal, squirrels and rats can't actually mate. You might be tempted to think that they could at first, especially considering that they look somewhat similar and they are both rodents, but they're just genetically not compatible. In reality, squirrels with a lack of hair on their tails are somewhat common in nature, and usually this loss of a bushy tail is associated with things like mange or fungal infections, so it's not a good thing to see. There are varying degrees of severity as well in hairless squirrels. Sometimes it can be minor, and sometimes they will have zero hair at all. If you've ever wondered what a hairless squirrel looks like, there you go.
What was that like?
I'm sure many of you guys remember back in 2023, the Titan submersible implosion. Well, this is new footage that was just recently released. The woman in this video is Wendy Rush, the wife of the CEO of OceanGate, Stockton Rush. And this clip shows the moment Wendy, as well as the crew here, hear the bang associated with the implosion of the submarine. At the time, the sub had 5 individuals on board, obviously including Stockton Rush, and the submarine ended up imploding or crushing in on itself at a depth of around 11,500 feet. It took quite a long time for information to be released about the sub, especially in regards to audio recordings and whatnot, so it's interesting that we're still seeing new pieces of information come out roughly 2 years later. There are a group of people as well that think because Wendy smiled after hearing the implosion, she might have had something to do with it, but really, I do not think there's any reason to believe that at all.
The apple. What?
Realistically, I have no idea what the last image in this slideshow is because the person who recorded this cut it off, but it doesn't matter. This story is tragic. This Hey Apple slideshow first starts off by saying, "Hey Tyree," then showing an image of a free fall ride, a 14-year-old by the name of Tyree Sampson saying, "What?" and this cut-off image at the end. For context, this is an incident that happened back in March of 2022 when Tyree and his family visited Icon Park in Orlando, Florida. At the park, there was a ride by the name of the Orlando Freefall that Tyree decided to ride. However, he was overweight for the ride, and also there weren't seatbelts on it, meaning it was not a safe situation. Unfortunately, because of the unsafe system, Tyree ended up slipping out of his seat, falling roughly 100 feet and losing his life. His family was recently rewarded a little over $300 million for this tragedy, but still, it won't replace his life.
Hey, Apple.
What?
This is why we can't have good things, man. One of these days, the schools, they're gonna take away your Chromebooks too. This is another Hey Apple slideshow that I got tagged in, starting off by showing a pencil saying, "Hey Chromebook," a Chromebook, of course, saying "What?" and finally, an image of one of these Chromebooks smoking, completely ruined in a classroom. As many of you guys know, in recent years, schools have been dishing out Chromebooks like no other. This allows students to be able to do research at home, finish their homework, and do their online assignments. But lately, there's been this new trend sweeping social media where students try to ruin their Chromebooks in the most unique ways possible, including sticking metal objects into the USB ports and short-circuiting the Chromebook. As a result, some students' Chromebooks have caught on fire, obviously costing the school money, and what's worse, the fumes that come off from these computers that have caught on fire are quite dangerous and bad to breathe in.
Breaking tempered glass actually looks fun.
Money.
By no means will I ever claim to be a glass expert, but I'm going to give it my best shot in terms of answering why this happened the way it did. This video shows a worker walking down this row of windows, progressively breaking them, and you'll see that it doesn't make a mess on the ground. But as soon as he gets to the doors and breaks them, they basically explode, sending glass everywhere. When it comes to glass, there are three main kinds that are used: laminated, tempered, and annealed glass. Annealed is the most dangerous. This is the kind that breaks into long, thin shards that can cut easily. And because of the danger here, tempered and laminated glass are typically going to be used for construction and storefronts like seen in the original video. Most of the time though, tempered is going to be the glass of choice for this type of construction. More than likely, the reason these pieces didn't immediately shatter onto the ground is because they're fastened into the floor and ceiling, and the door obviously doesn't have that extra support, so the glass is free to break and fall. This is obviously super sad, and realistically, I'm not too sure whether or not this baby deer will make it. The video that you guys just watched looks like it came straight from a science fiction movie. In it, we can see a deer fawn laying on the ground, and its eyes are completely covered with parasites. And unfortunately, this can be life-altering / ending for deer. Now, first off, in the comments, I did see some people thinking that these were fibromas on the deer, or pretty benign growths, but they are actually parasites. We're looking at one of my least favorite creatures on this planet, ticks. As you guys know, ticks attach to the host victim's body and leech off of their blood, getting their own sustenance. And most of the time, this is something a deer can survive and live through, especially if it's on the deer's main body. But when it covers the eyes or the mouth, this can really impact the way that they eat and see. There were fawns in the past like this that needed to be put down because they went blind.
Imagine driving this vehicle as your job.
You know what? AI is getting absolutely terrifying because this looked very realistic until you noticed the people down here. This video shows what looks to be a massive piece of equipment. If you didn't know any better, everything looks somewhat realistic, but in reality, this is just AI. That being said, I don't know why you would need to make an AI version of this when we have things that are bigger. More than likely, the inspiration behind that AI video there are one of these. These are known as baggers, and Bagger 293 is the largest out of all of them. In fact, Bagger 293 is the largest land-based vehicle in existence, weighing over 31 million pounds and standing over 300 feet tall, a literal skyscraper. The buckets on this have about the same volume as a full-sized car, and it even completely dwarfs the Statue of Liberty, making it look more like a toy. I just couldn't imagine being one of the people operating this and steering it. That would be way too much responsibility.
Trust me, don't put metal in the microwave.
Hey look, I know that you guys weren't going to try this anyways, but still, you've probably wondered what happens when you toss metal in the microwave, or why can't you do it? This video shows a tame example of what happens. This guy, his whole thing is just tossing stuff into a microwave. He takes a handful of silverware, throws it in there, and we can see inside the silverware starts sparking. So as it turns out, metal can actually go in the microwave and not have a reaction. There are just 3 rules you need to follow for that to be the case. You can't have metal that are separated, like fork tines, for example. You can't have sharp metal edges, and you can't have thin metal. The explanation for why this is would take far too long to explain in 1 minute, but the baseline that you guys have to understand, if you put the wrong type of metal in a microwave, it will cause an arc, and this can cause a fire. Here are some other items that you probably want to avoid throwing into your microwave to maximize your safety. This is a perfect example as to why almost everyone with a keyless vehicle needs to buy a Faraday box. At first, it's kind of hard to tell what's going on here. We see this guy walking up to the front porch. He's got this weird contraption, and you might not believe it, but this guy is carjacking the person who owns the house. So keyless vehicles, ones that open up without requiring you to open it manually, you can just open the door if you have the keys, are susceptible to a new form of carjacking known as relay theft. What these thieves are able to do is buy these devices off of Amazon that cost roughly $100, stand somewhat close to your key fob, and relay that signal over to the vehicle so the vehicle thinks the key is right next to it. They can then open it, start it, and drive off. Some of these devices are extremely powerful as well, able to pick up signals from hundreds of feet away. So the best way to prevent this is to buy a Faraday box that keeps your key signal inside.
That is not a muscle. It is a tumor.
No, man. This is actually a muscle, despite the fact this looks like something straight out of a cartoon. This video posted to TikTok was obviously meant to be a meme. It shows this older guy standing outside of this guy's car, flexing his muscle, and instead of a standard bicep bump, we get this little egg-like bicep. Now this is actually somewhat common. There are quite a few people that have this. It's oftentimes referred to as the Popeye deformity. That being said, this isn't the type of deformity that people are born with. This is the result of a torn bicep tendon or a tendinotomy, which is when they remove a tendon. The bicep tendon is attached up here and it keeps your bicep in a lengthened position. When that breaks, your bicep squeezes down into here and then it will create that little lump. If this is the result of a freshly torn bicep, this is probably extremely painful, but really it doesn't look like it is. This is probably something he's been living with for a while.
She was clearly doing black magic.
Personally, I don't 100% believe what this video is claiming to show, but I'm going to explain it like we're taking it at face value. This video claims to show a group of Muslims at the wedding. Right here appears to be the bride, and in the background there's an older lady dancing around behind the bride, and then she ends up shaking something onto the bride's head, and everyone is confused. Now, according to the caption on this video, this is allegedly an example of something known as seer, which essentially is sorcery or magic. There's many different types of this, but this video alleges that there was ill intention behind this alleged witchcraft. Essentially, the old lady back here is jealous of the bride in some way and wants to slight her. There are many different variations of black magic throughout different cultures that are believed to exist, and a lot of the times they're used in ways to make people break up. Again, not really something I believe in, but there's no context behind this, so who knows?
Is this food actually alive right now?
Boiled alcohol.
Great. So I guess now we're fear-mongering food and have to be worried about everything that we eat. The clip that you guys just watched made a bunch of people uncomfortable. We can see this plate of food. It looks relatively normal, but when you look closer, the food is literally moving. It looks like it's alive. So what's going on? Well, as it turns out, fortunately there's nothing that we need to be worried about here. What you guys saw moving in this dish are something known as bonito flakes. These are extremely thin flakes made from a dried bonito fish, and they're extremely lightweight as well. As many of you guys know, heat also rises. So when it comes to a fresh made bowl of rice, for example, there's a bunch of heat rising, water vapor, and this will impact how the bonito flakes move, making it appear as though it's alive. They're almost like little kites or parachutes, for example, just able to catch the current of moving air, even if it's not very much. This is a very different video than what I would usually do. To be honest, it's meant for one person, and the only reason I'm putting this into a video form for the public is because I have no way of contacting this person. This video is meant for interesting facts. It's a Snapchat show. You know who you are, man. I know that you're watching this video. Because your Snapchat show is literally just my videos from TikTok. You just download them and re-upload them here. But here's the deal, man. While at first this made me very upset because this is hours of work that I've spent, I'm willing to talk to you and work out a deal. I don't want to have to copyright strike you. I know Snapchat is not giving out new shows, so it's not something I want to do. I don't want to put you in that situation. But you're not just going to take my content, man, and get away with it, essentially. Dude, I can't believe I haven't even seen this until now. I'm not a rash person. I don't make split-second decisions. I think things through. And honestly, you're extremely lucky that you took my videos and re-uploaded them there, because I think 99% of creators would immediately copyright strike your account and your account would get taken down, or they would take you to court. So you got really lucky with taking my videos, man. I'm going to put my email right here. If you want to, you can reach out to there. I'm going to give you a few days, like I said, but we need to get this resolved. Also, I'm pretty serious about this, guys. Please do not reach out to the email. It's a spam email, but I need to be able to see interesting facts email come through. Prove that it's you, let's talk, and we'll work something out, okay?
Watch out how it rolls uphill by itself.
This is exactly why they say gravity is just a theory, and this completely blows it out of the water. As you guys can see, this guy is visiting the famous Zenses Park in Mexico. We can see him place a bottle on the ground, and instead of the bottle rolling downhill, it appears to roll uphill. Apparently, even the water in this park flows uphill. So what's going on? Well, if you couldn't tell, I was being sarcastic in the beginning. This does not disprove gravity. This isn't some weird gravitational phenomenon. This is actually an illusionary park located in Cancun. The park is quite literally marketed as a way to test your sense of direction and see if it throws off your equilibrium. And as you guys can see, everything is built in a way to make it appear as though it's uphill, when in reality it's not. People are hanging off of pillars that look like they're standing straight, leaning backwards in a way that would make Michael Jackson jealous. Excuse my language, but it looks like a total mindfuck. That simple.
Did you know that in Asia, parents have to use tape to open their baby's eyes? This is because a lot of babies in...
This has to easily be one of the craziest videos I've been tagged in a while. It's actually kind of mind-blowing. This video that I got tagged in has a pretty shocking claim. It essentially says that the majority of babies from China have to have their eyes taped open in order to see. They didn't provide any research or sources for this, but people still ate it up, and I'm sure you guys can imagine what the comments were like. Now don't get me wrong, eye taping does exist. However, it doesn't have anything to do with one particular race. It has everything to do with certain conditions that you can have for your eyes, and even then, it's not that common. For example, one condition is blepharophimosis. This is when your eyelids are underdeveloped and they could potentially cover up part of your eyes, so taping will allow you to see better. Another condition that sometimes warrants taping is ptosis, or droopy eyelids. And again, these conditions can impact anybody, not just one group of people.
This disease looks really uncomfortable.
Full disclosure right off the bat, I am not 100% sure what condition this guy has, but to be fair, nobody does. This video was sent to me through Instagram DM, and a lot of people thought this was straight up AI. This guy has a very weird build. A lot of people were calling him Gumby. Obviously, that's quite disrespectful because this condition does look somewhat painful. Now, if I had to throw out my best educated guess as to what this guy has, I would probably guess a very severe form of Paget's disease. Paget's disease impacts your bones. It causes them to grow at a much quicker rate than usual. And because of how quickly the bones are created, they are much weaker. Therefore, your load-bearing bones like your femurs, your legs, your spine, they become deformed. Arms are not something that are usually impacted by this. Most of the time it is going to be your legs, pelvis, spine, and skull, but still, anything is really possible here.
Burning this is actually really smart.
Money.
Bad news, guys. Turns out Big Water has been lying to us all along. It's actually flammable. Now, I know my tone didn't make it very obvious, but I am just kidding. This is a TikTok video that I got tagged in. These people are boating past this fire, and you'll notice the fire is taking place on top of the water, but the water is not what's burning here. More than likely, what happened here is a fuel spill, probably oil, and this is referred to as an oil slick. Petroleum-based fuels like oil or gasoline are less dense than water. That means they will literally float on it if you spill it into the ocean. And obviously, it's really bad for sea life and the environment. So occasionally when these oil slicks occur, instead of just cleaning up the oil and trying to separate it from the water, they will light it on fire and then put this barrier around it known as a fire boom to keep it in and prevent it from spreading. Not sure if that's what's happening here, but this is definitely some sort of fuel burning.
Pure gold is actually really soft.
Unless you've never really played around with true 24 karat gold, you don't really realize how soft it is. This TikTok that I got tagged in says this is how soft pure gold actually is. We can then see these sheets of gold stacked on top of each other, and this person cutting them with a knife. Now when it comes to gold, there are different carats or purities. The higher the carat, the higher the purity. And typically when you're looking at jewelry, you're going to find things like 14 karat gold or 18 karat gold most of the time. And really, that's not because the company is trying to stiff you and mix in other metals with the gold. It's because pure gold is so soft that the jewelry is usually going to end up warping, even if you're not applying pressure to it. It's really easy to bend gold. Realistically, I don't think this video is actually showing true gold bars. But to give you guys an idea, this is a 5 gram bar of gold, and you can straight up just bend it easily. Good news, guys. I found the full video for this, and to be honest, it really doesn't warrant this much censorship. The video that you guys just watched has literally zero context because of how censored it is. We can see this rope right here, we can see these people standing, and right when everything happens, the video blurs out and there's supposed to be an explanation in the pinned comment. Well, guess what? There wasn't. So I went out of my way to find the full video, and what we're looking at is a homemade Russian bungee jump / swing combination where this guy ends up running off. We can see a guy holding the rope as well, and the guy holding the rope falls off the edge, and we're led to believe something bad happens. But in reality, it appears as though the entire thing is set up because both of them just swing together down here and they're completely fine. With that being said, these homemade bungee jump setups that are taking place in Russia, highly, highly dangerous, really bad idea.
They obviously want to eat him.
I don't think they're hungry for fish. They want to eat something else. No. It's very serendipitous that this is a video that I would get tagged in after just covering a topic similar to this. This video shows these smiling faces sitting in the water. This guy then tosses a fish off the edge trying to feed the smiling faces, but they really don't seem interested and they come back and just start staring back at the guy recording. Despite the fact that what's in the water looks like a smiler from the back rooms, in the daylight it's a little less intimidating. We're looking at an arapaima. These guys are located in the Amazon. These are large carnivorous fish, weigh hundreds of pounds, and they're opportunistic feeders, meaning they'll eat really anything they want to, even small mammals. This is what they look like when they're in the water, and you can see how it would look like a smiling face at you if it were nighttime and there was a flashlight on them.
Bing.
If anybody watching this video has recently adopted a very young kitten, this might actually be pretty helpful for you. This is a video that was sent to me through Facebook DM. We can see here a kitten attempting to exit this box, presumably trying to get up to some mischief, and the person recording simply takes a hair clip, places it on the back of the kitten's neck, and it freezes. And this is a great way to essentially hit the off switch for these kittens and enact something known as the flexor reflex, just freezing them so you can move them from place to place. There is a caveat though. This is something that should only be done to kittens 3 months old or younger. That's because the flexor reflex disappears after 3 months, and if you continue picking up a cat by the scruff of its neck, this response where it freezes is actually something known as learned helplessness. Your cat has learned in this situation it's completely helpless and it won't try to fight back, just like this famous electrocution experiment.
They found this in ocean depths.
While this is really cool, I just hate how disingenuous all the posts have been about this topic. For some context, this is a deep sea video that was recently recorded that shows a creature that we don't know very much about. We can see the creature has 24 tentacles, looks extremely strange, and most of the accounts posting about this have literally zero context and make it sound like this thing is some alien creature we know nothing about. Now, while we truly don't know very much about this creature, we do know what it is. It's actually a deep sea anemone. This is what a standard sea anemone looks like for some comparison. This particular sea anemone is known as Eosactus vagabunda. I know it's quite a mouthful. They're found about 3 miles below the ocean's surface, and what's more, they consume polychaete worms, which are about 15 times its size. Also, these guys really aren't that large. You guys can see the scale right here.
Why animals will kill the babies.
What is this alcohol?
I feel like a lot of people don't really realize this, but nature's not all sunshine and rainbows, especially when it comes to the cute babies. The video that you guys just watched shows some wild horses. We can see a mother over here with her baby, and these stallions approaching. And even though they're all horses here, the mother starts defending the baby from these stallions, and the stallions look pretty upset. In the wild, there are certain groups of animals that participate in the activity of infanticide, which is just taking the lives of the young. This might seem cutthroat, but this is normal. In lions, for example, male lions that are rivals will kill each other's young, so their young in the future don't have rivals, and also so the females go back into heat. This is something that's less often seen in horses, especially wild horses, but in this case, it is possible that these male stallions are trying to do a takeover, and they might try to eliminate the young. Fortunately, in this case, everything worked out in a positive way. If you've ever wondered why, outside of morals, it's such a bad idea to consume humans, this will be your answer. This video shows 4 different images, 2 of them of some young children from the 4 tribe in Papua New Guinea, and 2 side section images of brains that are being studied. Now, for some context here, the 4 people, or the 4 tribe, are located in Papua New Guinea, and for a very long time they would consume their dead as a way to release their spirit and help them transition into the other side. This would turn out to be a massive mistake though, because they ended up developing a super rare prion disease known as Kuru, which is uncurable and fatal. The people that would pass away from this disease would then end up getting consumed themselves, and the cycle would continue. The 4 people don't do this anymore, but it goes to show you it was a very bad idea. If you guys want the rest of the rundown, I did a long form on this as well.
Where did these small red bugs go?
Everybody that grew up spending a lot of time outside as a kid all remember these small red bugs crawling all over the concrete. And while that might have just unlocked a memory you didn't know you had, this video brings up the point, whatever happened to them? And why don't we see them anymore? Well, first off, there are several different types of little red mites. We have velvet mites, sidewalk mites, which are the ones that we're probably all familiar with, clover mites, and whirligig mites. And while it might feel like it's been forever since we've seen these guys, they really haven't gone anywhere. If you go outside and look at the lawn or the sidewalk, you're still going to see these crawling around like crazy, and the only thing that I could possibly think of as to why you're not seeing so many is potentially the fact that you're taller now, or the season. And by the way, clover mites, which are the most popular types of mites people talk about, can infest your home, so if you find them inside, make sure you try to get them out and find the source.
This migraine is so bad, you can see it.
Money.
Have you ever had a headache so bad that you felt like you could quite literally see it? Well, I'm sorry to tell you guys, it's just not possible. It's kind of hard to see what's going on in this video, but the caption says, migraine so bad I can see it pulsating. And if we look very closely at the temple here, we can see some slight movement. And when you think about it, it kind of makes sense that a migraine could be visible on the side of your head. Usually the pain's going to be off to one side, and sometimes that pain will pulse along with your heartbeat. But while there's correlation there between this pulse and the pulsing headache, that doesn't mean there's causation. In reality, on the side of your head, everyone has something known as a temporal artery. This is going to run right here, and if you look really closely, you can just see this under normal circumstances. You don't necessarily have to be undergoing an excruciating headache to see it pulsing, but keep in mind, your body fat does have to be low enough to see it. Some people just won't be able to.
Oh no.
This is something that doesn't even seem possible, puzzled scientists for a very long time, but we now know what causes it. This TikTok slideshow that I got tagged in has several different images of these rocks that are found in Death Valley. And what's really strange about these rocks is the fact that they move, they leave trails behind them, but no one ever sees them moving. They just discover the trail. So these moving rocks found in Death Valley, California are also known as the Sailing Stones, and for a very long time people were puzzled as to what causes this. But after placing trackers on them and studying them for quite some time, it turns out there are a few different conditions that need to be met for this to happen. Namely, in the wintertime, small ponds and pools of water will have to have built up, these will freeze over, and then wind will blow the rocks and they will move ever so slightly, and eventually it will leave behind this large trail in the mud.
Hey! 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 Hey!
I I cannot say that I would have this much restraint, especially if I had a weapon on my person. This TikTok video that I got tagged in claims to show this guy's last moments before this cougar ended up pouncing on him and mauling him. The cougar is slowly advancing towards him, and the video also claims that this guy had a firearm that he didn't use. So cougars, or mountain lions, typically are not going to attack people. Usually they're going to run away, and on top of that, they prefer to attack people while their backs are turned if they're going to do so, usually not head on. And to give this guy some credit, he was doing what he should have in this scenario. He was being large, shouting, and keeping contact with the cougar. Fortunately, the original caption for this video is also wrong. This guy did survive. He was inside of a hunting blind, and he didn't actually have a firearm, he had a bow. So if you do encounter a cougar, take a page out of this guy's book and start shouting like crazy.
Imagine if these were human-sized.
Generally speaking, spiders do not scare me at all. That being said, this does. This video that I got tagged in makes me extremely happy that I'm not an insect. In it, we can see an insect that's been dropped into this large web. A large spider then crawls out, picks it up in a flash, and disappears back into the depths of the web. The type of spider that you guys just watched falls under the family of the Pleuroidae, also known as curtain web spiders, and there are several different types. All of them, though, are relatively large. I think referring to them as curtain web spiders is also a very fitting name. It's pretty clear to see that they lay out a web kind of like a curtain, and anything that's unlucky enough to fall into it is picked up in an instant. And I don't know if it's just me, but these spiders remind me of the ones from The Hobbit. This is exactly what it would be like if you were the size of an insect falling into its nest. Terrifying.